Looking at solving rational equations in one variable, there are 6 steps that we're going to follow. Okay, the 6 steps are right here in the center. You can take a look at them now, pause the video if you need to, and you can always come back to them at any time. I will show this again at the end of the video. Okay, so let's take a look at some examples here. All right. Okay. Now, this is our first rational equation here. We're going to be solving for the variable of x. Now, just like any other time we've been working with fractions, if we have fractions within our equation and we're trying to solve, we can always get rid of our fractions or simplify our fractions by multiplying by a common denominator. Okay, so here's what we need to think about. 6 and 3, those are both whole numbers, but really they're over 1, right? So if we have 1, x, 1, and x, and those are our denominators, our least common denominator is going to be x. So we need to first, in order to create a simpler equation to work with, we're going to take each of these terms and we're going to multiply, we're going to multiply each term by x. Okay, left and right side of our equal sign. Okay, now in this case, I'm just going to erase those again. Okay, so in this case, x times 6, so we're going to have 6x minus, now right here, because we have an x in the numerator and the denominator, these both are going to cancel out. So we just have minus 8 equals 3 times x, 3x, plus, and then these ones again cancel out, so plus 4. Okay, now we have a much simpler equation to solve. Remember, we're just solving for the variable of x. Okay, so why don't we subtract the 3x over here and then add 8. Okay, so now we have 3x equals 12. Still solving for x. So we'll divide by 3. And x equals 4. Okay, so we have to do one more thing. We have to check back up at our equation here, and we have to see what are the excluded values. Okay, so in this case, excluded values are anything that are going to make our denominator equal to 0. So in this case, the only excluded value is that x cannot be 0. Okay, so our solution here is that x equals 4 and that x cannot equal 0. All right. Okay, let's take a look at another one. Okay, now this equation we have x minus 2 for a denominator and x plus 3 for a denominator. All right, so if we have two factors, x minus 2 and x plus 3, as denominators, then our lowest common denominator, our least common denominator would be x, we'll write it over here, the LCD, least common denominator, would be x minus 2, x plus 3. That's our lowest common denominator, is to have one of these and one of these. Okay, so we need to multiply both sides of our equation by x minus 2, x plus 3. X minus 2, x plus 3. Okay, so there and there. All right, so when we multiply this side by x minus 2, x plus 3, these are going to cancel out, and we're left with 4 times x plus 3. Okay, we come over here, multiply this term by x minus 2, x plus 3. Our x plus 3's cancel out, and we're left with 2 times x minus 2. Okay, now this looks like a much simpler equation. Okay, our next step here is to distribute and distribute. Okay, so we'll have 4x plus 12 equals 2x minus 4. And just like the last problem, now we want to isolate our variable. Minus the 2x and minus 12. Okay, so now we have 2x equals negative 16. Okay, we'll divide by 2. Oops. Running out of space a little bit. So we divide by 2, x equals negative 8. Okay, so I'm going to write this over here. X equals negative 8. Okay, so let's keep that in mind, but now we need to check for our excluded values. So if we look back at our original equation here, what is it that would make the denominator 0? Well, on this side, if x was 2, the denominator would be 0. And on this side, if x was negative 3. So x cannot equal 2, and x cannot equal negative 3. Okay, so our solution is x equals negative 8. Our excluded values, we know that x cannot equal 2, x cannot equal negative 3. Okay, so again, here are the steps for solving rational equations. Go ahead and take a look at the items on the review and give them a try.